grandfathered plan as long as possible, or can obtain private sector insurance that conforms to the new requirements, can obtain coverage through the state insurance exchanges, and again, we talked about that. It depends on the size of the firm and how the state is, whether or not the state's going to allow the larger firms to participate in the exchanges. Or a firm may drop health insurance coverage and their employees will obtain coverage through the exchange. These decisions are going to be based on company culture, the strategic plan of the company, and cost-benefit analysis. I don't think it's going to be entirely cost-benefit analysis. I think there are other factors that are going to come into play, but I don't know that anybody today can predict what companies are going to do when it comes to keeping or not keeping coverage for their employees. Okay. Let's see. So next, I want to talk about the small employer health insurance credit. Now here, the definition of a small employer is an eligible small employer is that they have no more than 25 employees with annual compensation not greater than $50,000. And the employer must make non-elective contributions that pay for at least half the cost of the premiums. Starting this year through 2013, the credit is 35% of non-elective contributions. After 2013, the credit is 50% of non-elective contributions. The credit is only available for the initial 2 years that coverage is offered after 2013. The way I understand this is after 2013, an employer who begins offering health insurance will get that credit for the initial 2 years and only the initial 2 years. But there's going to be a period right now where employers who are currently offering that and qualify for the credit will have, I think, a 6-year period in which they'll be able to receive credits. And the coverage must be a qualified plan. This is after 2013, must be a qualified plan through a health benefit exchange. For tax-exempt organizations, the credit is 25% for 2010 through 2013, 35% after 2013. The tax-exempt organization credit is limited to the organization's payroll taxes. Okay. The credit is going to be reduced by 6.67% for each additional employee over 10 and 4% for each $1,000 that the average annual compensation exceeds $25,000. I have an example, and in this first example, we have Beta Corporation, who has 10 employees, and average wages are $25,000. Beta pays $60,000 towards its employees' health insurance premiums. Now, I assumed an average premium cost of $10,000 per year and a 60% contribution by the employer. The credit rate is 35%, so the credit before phase-out is $21,000. Since the number of employees does not exceed 10 and average wages do not exceed $25,000, there is no phase-out. So Beta Corporation company in example 1 will get the full $21,000 credit. In our next example, we have Beta Corporation again, but this time Beta Corporation has 25 employees. Average wages are still $25,000. Their employer contributions, if they're the same for each employee, are going to go up to $150,000. The rate's still 35%. Credit before phase-out is $52,500. But because they have the maximum of 25 employees, the credit is entirely phased out, and they will not receive a credit. In the next example, Beta company has 10 employees, but their average wages are $50,000. Now they're back down to 10 employees, so their contributions are again at $60,000. The credit rate is 35%. Credit before phase out is $21,000, but because their wages are at $50,000 maximum, the entire credit is phased out. And in our last example, we have Beta Corp company with 20 employees. Average annual wages are $31,000. The non-elective contributions are $120,000. The credit rate is 35%. Credit before phase out is $42,000. There's a 67% reduction because of the number of employees over 10, a 24% reduction for the average wages over 25,000, for a total credit reduction of 91%. So the credit is reduced pretty dramatically to almost $4,000. So it will be challenging. Those companies that are in the right place will get a credit. Those companies that are not will not get much of a credit, if any. Okay. Now let's just take a quick look here at the number of companies that would be eligible for a credit. And there is a lot of discussion going on about this. But if you look at the number of employers or firms with less than 10 employees, we've got 3.8 million firms that have less than 10 employees. Now, what are their wages, and how many employees do they have, if any? Then we have 786,000 firms with 10 to 24 employees. There's quite a large population of firms, but whether or not they're going to qualify for that credit is the big question. Okay. So in summary on the credit, up to 70% of U.S. firms may qualify for the credit based on firm size alone. But the credit is going to phase out very quickly for employers with more than 10 employees and average wages that are more than $25,000. Also, the credit will reward small employers who choose to offer health insurance, but after 2013, it's only available for the initial 2 years of a health plan. Now, do I think that employers are going to go out and offer health insurance to their employees because they get this credit? No. But I think it's something to reward small companies for offering health insurance. Okay. Finally, I want to talk about the new 1099 requirements. How many in the room are already familiar with 1099 reporting requirements? Not the most exciting topic until now. 1099s must be issued by businesses who pay $600 or more for services to a single payee that is not a corporation. Now, in order to pay for the incentives in the healthcare legislation, the information reporting requirements have been expanded to include payments to corporations and purchases of property, including inventory. The intent is that the additional 1099s will generate tax revenue from taxable income that would otherwise not have been reported. That's the whole idea behind 1099s. However, many small employees are not set up to capture this information. So, what information is required on a 1099? Well, you have to capture the total amount of expense for that particular payee for the year, the name and address of the payee, the tax ID number of the payee, and then it also includes, of course, the contact information for the payer and the payer TIN. This may seem like basic information that all businesses would have, but I can tell you that many small businesses just don't have the systems right now to efficiently collect and report on this information. Compliance is going to have a significant impact on the year-end processing for all businesses. Non-compliance can result in IRS penalties, and I believe the penalties right now are $50 if you unintentionally don't report, or $100 if it's intentional, and that's per incident. Okay. Now there are some proposed modifications. This is just one solution that's being offered right now. And it would be to exempt businesses with fewer than 25 employees from the requirement to file information returns on payments of goods and property. So that would eliminate quite a bit of the reporting. And then for businesses with more than 25 employees, raise the threshold for reporting on goods and property from $600 to $5,000 for any one vendor. And then exempt all purchases made with a credit card from information reporting. My understanding is that credit card companies are soon going to be reporting to the IRS that information anyway. So it makes sense that could be exempted. Okay, well that's all I have, and I hope this has helped your understanding of the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act and its impact on business. Thank you.
Any quick questions of these two guys? Come up with
Email
that.
on the second presenter, email address.
Yeah, it's Gary at PadgettSBiz, PADGETTSBIZ.com.
Thank y'all for being here. We have a couple of gifts for our presenters.
Thank
Very
you.
much for being here. Please fill out your evaluation forms, and our vendors and people who sponsor this are still in the lobby. Drop by, put your business cards in, you might win something. Drop my card in, maybe I'll win something. Thank y'all for being here.